There is a cage that has no bars. The door is always open, and yet most people never leave. They have forgotten the door exists. Worse, they have learned to call the cage their home. Imagine a man sitting in a dark room. He has a single match. He could strike it against the wall and see the room for what it truly is, small, perhaps, or larger than he dreamed. But he does not strike it. He holds the match tightly and tells himself that knowing the room is less important than keeping the match safe. This man is not foolish. He is something far more interesting. He is an idiot. But not just any idiot. He is a square idiot. Gurdjieff spoke of idiots often. He did not use the word as an insult. In his view, every person on earth belongs to a circle of idiots. There are 21 kinds. The first is the ordinary idiot, born into the world like a blank page. The last is the idiot who can no longer be called an idiot, a being who has dissolved all pretense and lives in raw truth. Between these two poles, humanity walks in various states of sleep. The square idiot sits near the middle. This is the idiot of serious faces, rigid beliefs, and rituals. Gurdjieff taught that a square idiot is someone who cannot be an idiot to themselves. Let that sink in. A square idiot can be foolish in front of others. They can make mistakes, lose money, and fall in love with the wrong person. But they cannot look into their own mirror and laugh. They cannot sit alone and admit, "I do not know what I am doing." The square shape is rigid. It has corners. It does not roll. It does not flow. A square thought hits another square thought, and there is friction. A square life tries to fit into a square world, and when it does not fit, the square idiot blames the world. This is the psychological trap. The square idiot believes they are rational. They believe they have escaped superstition. They wake early, drink coffee, check the news, and feel superior to those who believe in ghosts or gods or lucky socks. But the square idiot has their own superstition. They believe in the square. They believe that life should be logical, predictable, and fair. When life becomes round, unexpected, chaotic, absurd, the square idiot suffers. They suffer not because life is cruel, but because life refuses to obey the shape of their mind. Consider a woman who plans every hour of her day. She has calendars, color-coded notes, and a system for everything. She tells her friends she is organized. She tells herself she is in control. One afternoon, her car breaks down on a bridge. She calls for help. While waiting, she watches the river below. The water moves without a calendar. It does not care about her deadlines. For 10 minutes, she forgets her plans. She watches the light change on the surface. Then the tow truck arrives, and she returns to her system. But something has shifted. A crack has appeared in the square. The square idiot will patch that crack quickly. They will say, "That was a nice break, but now back to reality." They do not realize that the river was real. The calendar was the dream. Gurdjieff observed that square idiots suffer from a specific illness. They take their own maps for the territory. A map is useful. It helps you find the road. But a map is not the land. The land has hills that the map forgot. It has streams that changed course last spring. It has weather. The square idiot holds the map so tightly that they walk into trees. When asked why they did not see the tree, they say, "The map shows no tree here." This is not stupidity. It is a deeper forgetting. It is the forgetting that the map was drawn by other square idiots long ago when there were no trees. The teachings of Gurdjieff on this matter are clear. In his book, Beelzebub's Tales to his Grandson, he describes a long conversation about the degrees of idiocy. The square idiot, he explains, is one who has learned to imitate intelligence so well that they fool themselves. They can argue philosophy. They can quote poets. But when asked a simple question, "Why are you here?" their mind produces a square answer. To succeed. To be happy. To help others. These are not wrong answers. They are just not alive answers. A living answer would be silence. A living answer would be, "I have no idea, and that is wonderful." The square idiot carries a heavy burden. They believe they must be consistent. They believe their opinions from 5 years ago must match their opinions today. They believe a good person does not change their mind. This is a prison. Imagine a tree that refused to grow because last year's branches looked different. That is the square idiot. Gurdjieff said that the first step toward waking up is to become a round idiot. The round idiot can roll. They can move in any direction. They can admit they were wrong without feeling shame. They can laugh at their own mechanical nature. But to become round, one must first see how square one is. This seeing is painful. It is like waking up in a stranger's house. The furniture is familiar, but the walls are not yours. You have been sleeping in someone else's dream. Here is an example from daily life. A man believes he is honest. He has never stolen money or told a big lie. One evening, his partner asks him, "Are you happy?" He says yes immediately. But in that moment, his stomach tightens. A small voice whispers, "That was not true." He ignores the voice. He changes the subject. He has just lied to someone he loves, not with words, but with the absence of truth. The square idiot will forget this moment by morning. The round idiot will stay with it. The round idiot will sit in discomfort and ask, "Why is it so hard to say I don't know?" The door to this cage has no lock. The only thing keeping the square idiot inside is the belief that the cage is the whole world. How does one begin to leave? Not by becoming more intelligent. Intelligence is often just the square mind learning to defend itself better. The escape begins with a single, terrifying admission: I am an idiot. Not as a self-insult, as a simple fact. When Gurdjieff's students came to him, he did not give them comforting answers. He gave them impossible tasks. He told one student to stand in a corner for an hour and feel the weight of their own feet. He told another to walk backward for a mile. These actions look absurd. That is the point. The square mind hates the absurd. The square mind wants everything to make sense. By doing something that makes no sense, the student takes a small step out of the square. They become, for a moment, a little rounder. You can try this yourself without standing in a corner. The next time you catch yourself in a familiar argument with a partner, a co-worker, or your own memory, stop. Do not finish the argument. Instead, notice how the argument feels in your body. Is your chest tight? Are your shoulders raised? This is the square shape contracting. Now breathe. Do not try to solve anything. Just breathe and feel the shape. That breath is the beginning of roundness. The round idiot is not smarter than the square idiot. They are simply more awake. They have learned to hold their plans lightly. They can be serious when seriousness is needed and foolish when foolishness is called for. They have stopped trying to impress anyone, including themselves. This is a quiet freedom. Gurdjieff himself lived as a round idiot. He told stories that contradicted each other. He changed his teachings depending on the student. He laughed at his own importance. People who expected a guru in white robes were confused. They wanted a square answer. He gave them a round mystery. The final teaching on the square idiot is this: the opposite of idiocy is not wisdom. The opposite of idiocy is sincerity. A sincere square idiot can become round. A sincere round idiot can become something beyond words. But sincerity requires courage. It requires looking at your own reflection and saying, I have built my life on a lie. Not a bad lie. Just a small, comfortable lie. The lie that I know what I am doing. No one knows what they are doing. The most brilliant scientist does not know why there is something rather than nothing. The wisest monk does not know why suffering exists. The richest person on earth does not know if they will feel peace tomorrow. This universal not knowing is not a failure. It is the ground of all real freedom. The square idiot runs from this ground. The round idiot sits on it and watches the sky. So, here is a small, practical step. Tomorrow morning, before you check your phone, place your hand on your chest. Feel your heartbeat. And remind yourself that the beating has no calendar, rigid beliefs, or a career to chase. It has no opinion about your success or failure. It simply keeps time, round after round, patient as the ocean. Now ask yourself one question. What would I do right now if I had nothing to prove?